What is up, Bat Family, and welcome to another episode of Batman Theory, where we take a deep dive into comic books, movies, cartoons, and everything in between. Before we get started, I can ask, guys, please subscribe to the channel if you do like our content. We're giving you guys daily content of Batman and any of his allies, enemies, etc. And as soon as we hit 1,000 subscribers, we are going to be giving away, to one lucky subscriber, we're going to be giving away a really cool backlit Batman sign. So all you got to do is comment on a video and subscribe, and you automatically enter. Now let's get to it.
And here we go.
So the life and times of Jason Todd's complicated. It's because Jason Todd was the second Robin. Now, following up such a popular character like Dick Grayson was never an easy task, and DC had their hands full with it. Now, I understand why DC did it, and they felt like Robin, as Dick Grayson, was becoming a little stale. They wanted to change some things up, and honestly, it made sense story-wise because Dick was Robin for 30 years before really Jason Todd took over the mantle. So it made sense in a linear way to have Dick finally grow up. He goes to college, and then eventually becomes his own, depending on the iteration, he becomes his own willingly or after a fight with Batman and leaves as Robin, but he becomes his own superhero in his own right as Nightwing. Now, the problem with Jason Todd is I think a lot of fans just misunderstood him. He's not nearly as cheery as Dick. Dick was definitely much more of an uplifting, kind of almost like Spider-Man in a way, where he'd sometimes be quirky, he'd kind of a smart ass. Much more than someone like Jason. Jason was much more, in a lot of ways, very similar to Batman at the time. When Jason was introduced, it was the Bronze Age of Batman, so Batman was back to being a little darker after the Silver Age kind of made him lighthearted and campy. So it was Batman number 357 in 1983 when Jason Todd becomes the second Robin. One of the biggest issues was Jason Todd was actually very popular initially. I think people liked the change, but unfortunately it was changed. And I gotta be honest, his original history is very quick because it was changed very shortly thereafter, which a lot of fans didn't like. I personally, funny enough, actually enjoy his updated version because initially, just like Dick Grayson, Jason was a son of circus acrobats and was killed by Killer Croc, and his parents were killed by Killer Croc. And it got rechanged, and I actually really like that much more, to be honest. I like that it's not the exact same thing over and over again. So the change-up actually sees that Jason Todd is a young street orphan, and he actually tries stealing the tires off the Batmobile to sell them for money. And Bruce sees that Jason is placed in a school for troubled youngsters. Very soon after that, he actually helps out Batman by taking down a gang of guys who are trying to steal some items. Batman refuses to actually give him the Robin costume for months and months, puts Jason through a grueling 6 months of training. I don't think it was long enough, but I feel like we find after Dick, I feel like every Robin thereafter gets less and less training until we get to Damian. Jason doesn't have the exact acrobatic skills or the finesse that Dick ever had, and so Batman actually encourages him to channel his rage. One of the things I do like is one of the reasons that Batman takes Jason on is because he's afraid that with Jason's past being an orphan, that he will end up turning into a criminal if he doesn't take him in. The biggest thing people, and myself included, don't like about Jason is he honestly is extremely reckless. He dives into any situation without thinking. He's exact opposite of something like Batman or Dick Grayson would do. So we come to find out that Jason was actually the child of Willis and Catherine Todd. He was born in Gotham City. He was raised in Gotham City. His father was a petty crook and ends up being in prison. Jason was with his single mom who was a drug addict, and Jason grew up trying to steal off car parts such as the one he tried stealing for the Batmobile to raise money for him and his mother. Jason's mother would die soon after of an overdose. And guys, this is a product exactly what I was talking about with Bronze Age Batman. Bronze Age Batman is very dark. We delve into drugs and depression, anything, very dark stories. And honestly, it's probably why it's my favorite era of comics. It just gets in very real life circumstances, and I do appreciate that. So like I said, Batman does take him in, ends up training Jason for 6 really, really hard months, and he becomes Robin. One of the problems, though, is Jason's former life as being a street rat, essentially, left him with a very odd sense of right and wrong. There really wasn't a gray for Jason. It was very much everything was black or white. and it often made him and Batman disagree over how to handle villains. When things is firing a gun, possibly pushing someone off of a balcony to their death, we don't know for sure what actually happened, but the comic makes it very clear that it could have happened. Batman's very worried about Jason's behavior and actually enlists Barbara Gordon to come back out of retirement as Batgirl to go on a couple missions with Jason to see if she can help bring out the lightness of him, because his darkness seems to be taking over. And because of this, guys, we get to a death in the family. Now, I'm going to breeze over this because I will talk about it more in other videos, but essentially Jason discovers that his mother is not actually dead, and it turns out that she was being blackmailed by Joker, lures Jason into a warehouse where he beats him. It's absolutely just gut-wrenching what he does to him, and ends up blowing up the warehouse after leaving Jason dead. And we will talk about Jason resurrecting years and years later, almost 2 decades later, when we talk about Under the Red Hood storyline, and also Red Hood as a anti-hero in itself. So we'll get to those in future videos, but so that's essentially the very tragic time, life, and history of Jason Todd. So until next time, guys, I appreciate you for watching. Thank you so much, and have a nice day.